The case of a young Chinese woman whose freedom was lost can be analyzed as a prime example of information disruption. In both financial markets and legal systems, risk is not dramatically increased by a single action, but by a lack of transparency in information. In the stock market, prices don't reflect absolute value, but rather the available information. When information is obscured, delayed, or controlled, the market misjudges risk. Major bubbles and crashes throughout history share a common characteristic. Investors no longer see the whole picture. This principle also applies to legal systems. When individuals lack access to complete information, are unable to express their views, or do not fully understand the decision-making process, the entire system enters a state of information asymmetry. In this state, the outcome often reflects not fairness, but rather control over information. This girl's story illustrates the consequences of being isolated from the flow of information. When information flows in only one direction, an individual's ability to protect themselves is virtually non-existent. Decisions made in an environment lacking transparency tend to be decisive and difficult to challenge. In finance, professional investors constantly monitor market signals to detect risks early. Decreased liquidity, increased volatility, or unusual silence from large institutions are all considered warning signs. When signals are distorted, the market loses its ability to self-correct. The legal system, in theory, also needs similar signals. Access to lawyers, public trials, and oversight mechanisms exist to ensure that information is not monopolized. When these signals weaken, the system's ability to correct errors is significantly reduced. Another important point is the valuation of risk over time. In the stock market, risk is often not valued immediately. It is often masked by seemingly harmless appearances. Only when choices cease to exist do people realize the true value of control. From a financial perspective, the most important principle is not maximizing profits, but preserving the ability to choose. A smart investor always leaves themselves more than one escape route. From a legal perspective, a just society must do the same for the individuals within its system. This girl's story is therefore not just an isolated case. It reflects a general rule. When decision-making power is concentrated in one party, systemic risk increases exponentially. This holds true in financial markets, in corporate governance, and even in how society treats vulnerable individuals. Ultimately, whether discussing law or finance, the core lesson remains unchanged.